way more things are possible than we think. I realized that was actually something I always thought, even as a kid, but growing up, you forget that is possible because everybody tells you so many things aren't possible. So when I heard Makoshi talk about this and so many things that I could recognize myself in, I was like, this is the person I want to work with. She believes that anything is possible, and she's actually the proof of it, that you can make money with positive impact, that you can make money with doing good, and that you do not have to choose between either or, but that you can actually do both. My name is Daphne. I'm a transformation designer, which means I focus on creating or designing individual and societal change. Currently, I'm starting to build my business because I've gotten a lot of clarity over this last year working with Makoshi. And I'm really focusing on the world that I dream of is a regenerative world, is a world where we create more and more life with the things that we do. Just before I joined the Royal Shaman, I actually did the Manifestation Babe course, which really gave me a lot of insight into that way more things are possible than we think. And I realized that was actually something I always thought, even as a kid, but growing up, you forget that is possible because everybody tells you so many things aren't possible. So when I heard Makoshi talk about this, and here are so many things that say so many things that I could recognize myself in, I was like, this is the person I want to work with. She believes that anything is possible, and she's actually the proof of it, that you can make money with positive impact, that you can make money with doing good, and that you do not have to choose between either or, but that you can actually do both. Growing up, my dad always said, it's all fun and games, Daphne, that you want to, create something sustainable, but you cannot earn money with that. So it was the total opposite of what I grew up with. And it really gave me this, I felt seen, I felt understood. And because of that, I also felt like she could really help me. I didn't exactly know how I was going to do that. And also, all these beliefs and ways of thinking are still inside you. So it's really valuable to get into a community of people who all believe this and who are kind of all reprogramming those beliefs at the same time. And also they're proof. Every time someone shares a win, it's proof for what is possible. Before I got into the container, I was really curious to get inside, honestly, because it felt kind of mysterious a little bit. But at the same time, I knew that the things that Makoshi was talking about were things I was super interested in. So it really made me be even more curious, and like I even wanted to be inside more. And it has not disappointed at all. Like how much the buildup is. And I was even like, oh my God, I can do this, I can go inside. I'm so excited. I'm so curious what's gonna happen. And even though the buildup is so high, it does not disappoint at all. It's like just as exciting inside as I was feeling before. If I would have to explain how the container met my expectations or even went beyond it. I've seen so many psychologists also for things I was struggling with. Sometimes you have this thing where you try to walk around it, or they don't see what you're doing, and then you're just like, man, I can still, do the things I'm doing right now. Of course, that was not at all my intention right now, and that was a really long time ago. But why I am saying this is because of course, you're watching all the transmissions of Makoshi, which are very insightful, but she also really puts a lot of emphasis on integration. This is actually the least sexy part of all of it, because it really asks of you to face the difficult things that aren't so Disney-like, no Disney spirituality, but just like real life hard shit that you need to do. And then also with like the coaches, for example, I go to a lot of the coaching calls with Christine, and she's no bullshit. She just calls you out on the things you're doing, and that's just amazing. Like I never expected it to be like so to the point. And then also like the things that Mikoshi is saying. Do you know this feeling when you walk around in nature and you're just like, you get this bubbling feeling, you're just excited? And I get this feeling too when I learn new things that really excite me, and just the insights that everything that Mikoshi is talking about is giving you. And to me, it really feels like coming home to your own nature and to your own alignment. And that's just such an exciting feeling. And then also the container has really taught me to be more in community with people. And the community is really amazing. Like everybody is very supportive and so lovely. Like it really helped me open up into more connection, which I was really afraid to do because everyone was so supportive. So those are just a few things. Like I think I could go on even longer, but let's just keep it like this. Since Ascension, my life has changed a lot in ways that I actually didn't expect, because of course I want to make a business out of my purpose. So I was thinking, okay, I will go through these things, and then at the end of it, I will have more money, and yeah, awesome. But like along the way of going into this container, I actually realized more and more that what I was really longing for was connection. And that was the scariest thing for me to face, because I was really afraid of connection, of opening up, of being extremely vulnerable. So I would say that before Ascension, I was very only work focused or goal focused. I didn't have a relationship. My friendships were a bit complicated. Now, after Ascension, I am integrating more and more play into my everyday life. So I started salsa dancing, twerking, I played percussion, and those things would have been a waste of my time before. Next to that, I've got a lovely relationship, which I don't even know how I got to that relationship, because it's such a big reach from where I was before. Like the previous relationship to this relationship, it's like such a big difference. I'm like, how did I ever accomplish that? I'm really becoming more process focused and being more in the moment, and I'm becoming better at being what Mikoshi calls the void, but I call the undefined, where you're following your intuition and you're telling yourself every time, you don't need to know the step that's going to be the step 20, and you can just be here and be in the moment and choose in the moment and be safe in that. I'm not going to say that suddenly now I can do all of that, but I really notice that I call myself back to that every time, and it makes life more exciting, and you can really see that you're reprogramming yourself to be more in the now and to actually be more in pleasure. That's what I feel like it is. So a few of the most euphoric moments that I've had in a container is actually maybe a moment you would not call euphoric. It's when I literally closed my eyes, got really into the now, got really into my body, something that I really learned to do more in this container. And I talked to an inner part of me, and I actually broke through such a big barrier with myself that I had from having an eating disorder back then was still left inside of me, that old memories from my past came rushing back that I've forgotten, lovely memories with my brother and my father that I've just forgotten about because they were too painful because of the relationship I have with them now. And I just cried in bliss for almost 1 hour. And because of that, right now I eat way healthier, and it's way easier to do that. I think that's just really because you go into this kind of training or practice when you go into this container, right? So you get better and better and better at it, and you can reach deeper things inside of yourself because of that. I never had any experience of being able to heal myself like that before. I did that on my own, and that felt so powerful. So that is definitely one of the most euphoric moments that I've had. Since working with Makoshi, my definition of freedom has definitely changed. Because before, I thought that freedom was being able to choose something, being able to create more of something, to create a bigger house or a more cozy space or more friendships that are way more deeper. But what I actually discovered, which is like mind blowing and also really unsexy, but that freedom is actually also in saying no and being able to say no to things. That is also how my perspective on freedom has radically changed. And it's actually really freeing. So, what I feel like would not have been possible if I hadn't been in Ascension comes back to connection again, because that I feel like connection is like my biggest shadow in this life. And I was so afraid. I discovered that connection is actually everything. Like, if you want to do business, that's connection. If you want to have friends, that's connection. If you want to be able to be with yourself, that's connection. So if you're afraid for connection, you're actually afraid of everything. And this container really gave me a safe space to explore connection more and actually be vulnerable, cry on screen with everybody watching and taking up my space, and really explore also myself in relationship to others and taking up space. And I feel like at least right now, I would, and before in my life, I haven't had like the right environment to even explore that deeper or evolve in that. When you go back to that, it's everything, right? So it wouldn't have been possible in the life that I was living. Like, it wouldn't. So stepping into something that is different, that, actually pulls you to that other level because it's already there and you're here, and then you get there. That's really amazing. I got invited into this more expanding perspective that if something feels very supportive to me and it is possible, and I can see that it helps my growth and that it actually gives me also this community and connection that I always have longed for so much, then why would I not do it? Why would I not want to be supported? So for me, really, the stretch was not only already spending that money last year, which already was like a stretch for me. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to do it 1 year, but now doing it for another year while also having invested in something else already. And next to that, it's also just like, what does your family think about that? What do people around you think about that? So those were like the biggest things. I felt like doing it once was like, oh, I can do that, but then doing it twice, that was really the stretch for me. I decided to stay. I decided to stay also I was just so excited to experience quantum business, which is amazing. I'm so happy I stayed. And also, just seeing that if in 1 year, I could go from survival, being ready to go into thrival mode, and build up mode and create mode, which has been such a long path for me in my life, then what can I do being in this container, being rather ready to go in thrival mode, knowing like, oh, this is going to be the year I'm going to have to face my fears, not just reflect or cry or like heal, but actually build, which feels even scarier to me, then what is going to be possible for me in that year. So that curiosity also really convinced me. The kind of impact I want to have with my business, I know like in a very broad sense, and I'm right now working through writing all my own processes down and what I've been through to see how I can add to that vision. coming alive. But for me, it's just realigning with nature, because I have been really low, like drinking a lot of alcohol, even, using drugs for 1 week at school. Like I was really, really low, and almost never anything helped until I really discovered the laws of nature. I discovered my own subconscious mind, which are all things that Makoshi works with, and she takes it so many steps deeper. And that has had such a big impact on me, realigning with nature, that I just know that is what I want to do. So now it's only a matter of, what are my skills to do that? How can I, in my own way, realign us back with nature? As a transformation designer, as someone who knows about individual transformation because I've been through it myself, but also has done a design studies, right? So how can I combine all of those things together into one, create people that are in alignment with nature, but also environments that are in alignment with nature, because we suppress our environment a lot. And how magical would that life be? And then, really wanting to do that through play, through what I get excited about, through bringing more joy into people's lives. Because when you go around these subjects, there's also a lot of negativity or people being very down. So this container really helped me prepare, I think, walking into that field and having a bit more belief for what is possible, because the systems, or like the why it is possible. The first thing I want to say to someone who is thinking about working with Makoshi and the team is like, get ready, get ready, get ready. Because it's a fun ride. And the first few months, you're like, what is happening? Then it's really awesome. And you explore all these things. You're like, why has nobody ever told me this? That the universe works like this, or that you can align with nature in such deep and profound ways, It makes me think of when I first learned that you can actually gather food in the wild. And then suddenly I saw all these herbs that I could, eat and work with. And it was so magical, and it made the world so much more adventurous, because now you suddenly knew something that you never knew before, that put your whole world upside down, because nobody thinks like that. Well, that's kind of the experience with Makoshi. You're like discovering all these new things that you never knew existed. And suddenly it's like, whoa, the world is really magical. What is even more possible? And so, yeah, if that's an experience you want, go for it.